In the world of forensic history, there are names that over time remain in memory as symbols of ruthlessness and horror. One such name is Karl Denke. This name evokes associations with terrible crimes that amaze even the most pessimistic minds. Let's delve into this creepy story that usually remains in the shadows of history. Karl Denke was born in the middle of the 19th century on the territory of modern Germany. His childhood was not easy. He grew up in a family with limited financial opportunities, which negatively affected his psyche. From the very beginning of his life, he felt alienated, and this made it difficult for him to relate to other people. In his biography, it is possible to find many elements that indicate psychological problems, isolation, perception of the world as hostile to him. Over time, Karl became a nice but eccentric entrepreneur. He opened his own store where he sold a variety of products, but things never went the way he wanted. This increased his sense of hopelessness, which eventually turned into anger and hatred of the world. Karl Denke's first victims were unremarkable people, destitute, homeless, who disappeared without a trace. In time, it was revealed that Denke killed his victims to make sausages from their meat, which he sold in his shop. This aspect of his crimes is shocking and never leaves the imagination. To imagine a person using another life for profit is completely unfathomable. At first, the victims in Denke were unknown and invisible, but over time, evidence of the disappearance of people in his area began to appear. However, despite numerous disappearances, no one suspected Karl. He became invisible to those around him. His shop was optimistically lit, and Denke himself looked completely normal. This, however, continued to reinforce his alter ego, which developed in parallel with his criminal activities. In 1924, Denke was accidentally caught when one of the victims managed to escape. It happened during one of his attacks, when the victim, alarmed by the man's behavior, was able to escape and contact the police. Reports of disappearances and murders began to pile up, and soon investigators turned their attention to this mysterious merchant with a small shop. When the police arrived at his residence, they were shocked by what they found. The evidence was gruesome: remains of bodies, butchering tools, and reams of documents testifying to his brutal murders. Denke seemed to transform human life irrevocably into ordinary sausages and deli meats. After his arrest, Karl Denke had to face justice. However, his mental state quickly raised suspicions. During the investigation, he claimed that his actions were prompted by an inner voice that kept telling him to kill. This caused numerous discussions about whether he could be held criminally responsible for his actions. Although Denke did not live to be tried, his case had a huge impact on society. The authorities began to analyze the mental health problems of criminals, which prompted the creation of new programs in treatment and administration of justice. Karl Denke's case has been critically analyzed not only from the point of view of justice, but also from the point of view of psychiatry. His crimes became a symbol of how society's neglect of mental health can lead to dire consequences. Society has begun to understand the importance of supporting and understanding people who suffer from mental disorders. Karl Denke's story is still an important lesson. It's not just a horror story, it's a reminder of the importance of showing humanity and offering help to those in need. Indeed, Karl Denke was not only a murderer, but also part of the complex fabric of our society, which sometimes ignores those who really need support. His story is a reminder of the horrors hidden beneath the veneer of the mundane, and of our duty to help, not ignore, those who may be called to violence by their own suffering. In this way, this eerie story becomes not only a horror story, but a story that aims to make us want to understand and support people who are struggling with their demons. I hope that by looking at such cases, we can all become a little more aware, sensitive, and ready to help others. This story of Karl Denke's killer has had a huge impact on history, and continues to be an example of brutality, and hopefully also an inspiration for us to always stand by those in need. Thanks for listening to this terrible but important story.